Finally, in our section on free will, we'll look at Harry Frankfurt's argument for compatibilism. It might be better construed as an argument against a certain libertarian principle, namely the power to do otherwise than what you actually did. Okay, so incompatibilists, like libertarians, like hard determinists, think that freedom and responsibility require the possibility that one could have done otherwise than what one actually did. We'll call this the principle of alternate possibilities, that a person's act is free if and only if that person could have done otherwise. So, suppose you made a ham sandwich today, you're only free in that action if you could have refrained from making the ham sandwich. Maybe you didn't eat it at all, maybe it could have been. Maybe it's possible that you didn't eat it at all. Maybe it's possible that you made a peanut butter sandwich, or choosing ham over turkey. So making turkey, making ham, these are all open to you. These are things that you could have done. What you actually did is made a ham sandwich. What you could have done is make a turkey, make a peanut butter, make a salad even, or not eat it all. Okay, this is the principle of alternate possibilities, and it must be possible for you to be able to do otherwise, that you could have done otherwise than what you actually did, in order for you to be free, according to the incompatibilists. So the principle of alternate possibilities is inconsistent with determinism, as we've talked about already. So if you need to be able to have the choice between one thing and another, or that thing and refraining from performing that thing, and determinism determines that you would only do one particular thing, there's only one future open to you, then obviously those are incompatible. It's one choice versus two alternate choices. But the question is, Harry Frankfurt asks, does freedom really require the possibility of doing otherwise? And he gives a counterexample that's supposed to show that freedom does not require the possibility of doing otherwise. And you can check out this counterexample and an explanation at this website, the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, right? So consider Allison. She's contemplating whether to walk her dog or not. Unbeknown to her, her father Lloyd, obviously a control freak, wants to ensure that she does decide to walk the dog. He has therefore implanted a computer chip in her head, such that if she is about to decide not to walk the dog, the chip will activate and coerce her into deciding to take the dog for a walk. Given the presence of the chip, Allison is unable not to decide to walk her dog, and she lacks the ability to do otherwise. However, Allison does decide to walk the dog on her own. Okay, so what you have going here is that the father, like I said, he's a control freak. He's so invasive that he put a computer chip in her brain because he cares so much about the dogs getting walked, right? And the father says, hey, Allison, you need to walk the dog today. Other than that, he's waiting in the wings, sort of spying on her to see if she'll walk the dog. And maybe he's monitoring her brain activity or something, so that, she's about to decide whether she should walk the dog or not. Suppose she decides to walk the dog. Well, then the father's just going to sit back. He's not going to press the command for her to walk the dog, not going to activate the computer chip. So then she just decides on her own. But suppose she's about to decide not to walk the dog. Then he's going to activate the computer chip, and the computer chip will force her to walk the dog. Either way, she's going to walk the dog, either through being compelled by the computer chip or choosing on her own. As it turns out, she walks the dog on her own, and so the father's waiting, monitoring the computer, and he realizes that she's going to walk the dog on her own, so he doesn't, activate the computer chip. Now, the fact of the matter is that Allison was not able to decide to not walk the dog. She was only able to walk the dog, right, to make the decision to walk the dog, either through force by the computer chip or on her own. So she had no possibility of doing otherwise than what she actually did. But she did decide to walk the dog on her own without the force of the computer chip. And so what Harry Frankfurt wants to say is it appears that Allison freely chose to walk the dog, even though there was no possibility of doing otherwise. So what he wants to say is the principle that you have to be able to do otherwise than what you actually did for you to be free in your action, that's false. Because here we have a case where someone is unable to do otherwise than what she actually did, and yet she still acted freely. Consider another case. Someone is in their room and it's approaching evening and they're wondering whether they should go out on the town or not. And this person has a prankster of a roommate or housemate, and this housemate, unbeknownst to the person who wants to go out on the town, his housemate locks that person in. Let's give these people names so it's easier. Smith and Jones. So Smith is deciding whether to go out on the town or not. He's in his room, and Jones is the prankster, and unbeknownst to Smith, Jones locks the door to the room. So then Smith is saying, do I go out? Do I not? And then he finally decides, you know what? I'm just going to stay in. I'm going to stay in for the night. And then, Smith has a good time in his room. He's watching Netflix or something and then goes to sleep. And early in the morning, before Smith wakes up, Jones unlocks the door, unbeknownst to Smith. And so then Smith wakes up, walks around his room, gets dressed, opens the door, and leaves. So Smith never knew that the door was locked. Smith thought that he, could have gone out on the town if he wanted to. So here we have another example where Smith couldn't have done otherwise than stay in his room, and yet it appears that he freely chose to stay in his room. He didn't know he was locked in. He just said, you know what? I don't want to go out on the town tonight. I'm going to watch Stranger Things, right? So the point is, Smith couldn't have done otherwise, but it still appears that Smith freely chose to stay in for the night. So these sorts of examples, they call into question the claim that freedom requires the possibility of doing otherwise than what one actually did. And here is Frankfurt's argument against incompatibilism, or for compatibilism.